Ahoj všichni, já jsem Rožík a vítám vás opět u dalšího videa ze hry The Hunter Call of the Wild. A pokračujeme v plnění misí na mapě Silver Ridge Peaks, nebo Silver Ridge Peaks. Prostě jedno z toho, to je úplně fuk, co to je. Prostě je to ta stříbrná mapa. Měl jsem tu trošičku problém se spuštěním. Když jsem to posledně vypnul, tak se mi neuložil postup a jelikož jsem tu měl daný stan a spawnul jsem se hnedka tady, tak mi to nechtělo ty mise pustit dál, takže jsem to musel na 3krát restartovat a zkoušet to zapnout znovu. Ale už se mi to povedlo, takže je to v pohodě, plus ještě jednu věc, co jsem udělal. Pořídil jsem si ty zaměřovače, ty nové, co jsou, a jenom zmetku. Dobré, nevidím v nich žádný nějaký velký rozdíl. Tady toto je ten, co jsem používal předtím, 4 až 8 x 42. Jo, vypadá takhle. A to je ten nový, což je 4 až 12 x 33. Já nevím, já v tom moc jako rozdíl nevidím. Možná to přiblíží trošičku víc. No nevím, budu ho chvilku používat, třeba se mi s ním bude hrát lépe. Ale teďkom jdu pokračovat v plnění misí, utíkám tam nahoru. Někdo nám tu rozbíjí koleje. Vždyť to přece jen tak někdo nedokáže.
How did they even... It's just been ripped out of the ground. Gone. This would have taken a crew and equipment. This isn't teenagers with too much time on their hands. This is the sabotage of one of our irreplaceable attractions. I need some pictures. I'm gonna send them to the police.
Jo, okej. Máš to i se psem.
I'm on hold with the sheriff's office. Then I think I need to call my dad. Since it appears that someone is trying to sabotage the reserve, I need you... Hello, yes, Sheriff Cole, please. I need you to head up to the ghost town and see if they've done any damage there. I'll check in later. Jerry, hey, thanks for picking up so fast.
Já stále nechápu, jak je možné, že je to takhle do kopce. A co je tohle? Co to bylo za zvuk? Jak tady do toho může vůbec něco vyjet? To je tak do kopce, že kdybych se jako postavil rovně, tak se můžu opřít o ten kopec. Jako je to moc pěkné místo, ale to v životě nemohlo nic vyjet. Však on ani nejde vidět spodek těch kolejí. Tu to prostě padá takhle dolů. Dobře, nechal jsem se trošičku rozdurdit hrou. To je fouk. A jsem tu, teď začne mluvit. Ještě ne? Tak, teď. Mrtvá puma! Spoustu mrtvých zvířat.
They've gone from vandals to poachers and mindless animal killers. This is escalating so quickly. Who would possibly want to do this? Some disgruntled former staff member? My dad and I haven't had any trouble with any of our staff, past or present. Can you take a look around? I want to know just how much damage these guys have done. If you find an animal, take a picture and send it my way, please.
Tak jo.
I'll save this for the police. Thanks.
Nic neřekne? Tak jo. Tak a co konkrétně mám hledat? Já vůbec nevím, co po mně chcou. Když jsem vyfotil jak tu, tak tam tu.
Good work. Got it.
Ale tady nic nedává smysl.
A third.
Co?
Okay. Another one? How long did this take them, I wonder? Is that the last of them?
Ne, není.
Hopefully this is the only place. Was that a door opening? Are they still here? Be careful. We know they're armed.
Ale blbost, já jsem víc ozbrojený.
What's that sound? It's horrible. Those sounds... like animals dying. End hunting now. What? Is this some kind of activist? I don't buy it. I know we hunt animals, but making a quick, clean kill is paramount for us. Take a picture of the text and send it over.
Kde máš text?
This was something else.
Aha.
Needless cruelty. All to send us a message. Got the photograph. I'll save it with the others. How the hell has this happened? How did we go from thinking this was kids being a nuisance to armed poachers killing and torturing animals? The deputy sheriff is on her way over now. Listen, I don't think it's best for you to be chasing these people down now. They're armed, and they don't seem to care much for ethics or responsibility. I'd like you to get out of there, and the police will take over.
Kam šli? A dostal jsem achievement sabotáž. To je fajn. Co tu máš dál? Já se nudím.
There is actually one place where it's hopefully safe to send you, where you might find something that can help us. These people seem to know exactly how to hurt us. They've targeted our unique tourist spots and our animals. There's a fossil excavation site that I was planning to show our investor as well. It's abandoned just now as the college ran out of funding for the dig last year, but we've been keeping it safe for when they come back. It's basically just a shed and a hole, but it represents a good opportunity to interact with the local community and college. Tourists don't go there, but it's a big part of raising the reserve's profile in a way that doesn't involve hunting. Can you head over there and make sure everything is still locked up and secure? It's not good for our reputation if we can't protect a tiny dig site.
Dig site. Tak jo. Kam mám jít? Tady. Takže můžu jít odsud. Vidíte v tom nějaký rozdíl? Tohle je ten starý. Tohle je ten nový. Starý. Nový. Ukazuje to blíž. Tak jo. A možná trošičku jasněji, jako čistější ten výhled tam je. Asi. To je jediné, co v tom tak nějak vidím.
Since the sheriff's office are all discussing what's been going on up here, it turns out that they've been sharing notes. One of the deputies actually pulled over a truck, just outside the reserve. The truck was hauling a short chunk of rail track and two big heavy railway sleepers. Turns out the driver runs some kind of historical museum out in Arizona. He claims someone called Mr. Green reached out to him and offered him a chance to take home some historic railroad. The driver was confused, but was keen to grab a piece of Gold Rush history, so he drove out to retrieve a piece yesterday. Said that he and his son had to cut it out with a saw and lift it with a crane. He had receipts for the whole plant rental and everything. Obviously, we had nothing to do with this exchange, so the question becomes, who on earth is Mr. Green? The cops were going to ask me about it, but the guy was adamant that it had all been signed off by this Mr. Green. They just tried calling his number, and it's not recognized. They're going to get in touch with the truck driver and get back to me.
Jsem zmatený, co se tu děje. Právě jsem vystřelil 3 rány na ovci a ani jednou se netrefil.
Okay, so at least the site itself hasn't been touched. What about the tool shed? They left an inventory, but there wasn't much in there. Just some digging tools and a rock saw. I knew it. Of course they've been here as well. They've taken something. The rock saw is missing. I looked them up and they're like $500 brand new. This one was used and old. I doubt it's worth much. It was pretty heavy too. Have a look around. I wonder if they drove up here to get it. Gotcha. Okay. So they're in a car or truck and they've been here recently. I've got a plan, but we're gonna need to act fast. Grab a photo of those tracks and send it to me. I'm gonna round up some of my friends. Stay on the line.
Ono to vůbec nepřijímá ty fotky, které fotím.
so we're going to lock down the barricades for all of our roads. Nothing gets in or out. I've rounded up a few people to help, but I've got a gate I need you to lock up. First thing you'll need to do is grab a padlock. I keep one in the closest lookout tower to the gate. Once you're inside, look for a locker.
Ale ne. Proč tak vysoko? No tak jdem. Vapity. Ale jenom 2. Takže úplně o ničem.
That's the tower you need to check inside. Let me know when you've grabbed the padlock.
No, už jdu. To bude.
You've got the padlock? Okay. Your GPS will show you where to find the right gate. We're almost there.
Už jdu.
The other roads are all locked down. Just your gate left to close.
A zrovna to nestihnu.
Arrived at his gate just as a truck was leaving. He recorded the license plate though. The deputy's gonna take a look.
Už jsem skoro tu. Já to nestihnu, ono něco projede. A o co tu vůbec jde s tím uranem? Nebo je to všechno propojené nějak mezi sebou? Já nevím, já to nechápu.
That's the gate. Close it and lock it shut. Great work. If the criminals are still inside the reserve, they're gonna need to go off-road to escape.
To nebude moc těžké, hele.
I feel better. The police are working with us now, and we have taken steps to get things back on track. The deputies share my suspicions about this being the work of animal rights activists. Sure, we get the odd email from time to time. A few years ago, my dad narrowly avoided having red paint thrown all over him by someone who had come looking for trouble. There's a group called the Activists for the Protection of Animal Rights, APAR. They've sent us some letters in the past. Thing is, it's been all calm on that front recently. And if you want to target, why us? We're not high profile. Until recently, that was my biggest problem. Plus, the sounds on that tape will be with me for a while. I don't think the person who recorded them is likely to be sensitive to animal rights. One thing I do know is that this lockdown is going to hurt us. People will talk. And I know that there are people on the board who are already considering replacing me.
Já nevím, ale proč boj o práva za zvířata probíhá tak, že zabíjejí zvířata. To nedává smysl, ale žádní aktivisti nedávají smysl.
One of the accountants got back to me about this meditation mountain that Baden was going to climb. She's ambitious, I'll give her that. She set her sights on one of our taller mountains, Mount Ursula. The police are in charge, so we have to take the back seat for a while. In the meantime, I'd like you to have another shot at finding Baden. She must be in a pretty rough state by now.
Tak jo. Cože? Já tam zase u toho nemám chajdaloupku, samozřejmě. Ona tam je, ale já ji nemám odemknutou. Sakra, to je pěkný kopeček. Ale pořád menší než ten, kde jsou ty koleje. To je hezký. Tak vysoko jsem snad v té hře ještě ani nebyl. Tak, jsem tu. Stopy.
Footprints. Look. That's definitely her gear. There's a yoga mat and everything. Is that a journal? Normally I wouldn't recommend this, but maybe we should see if she's written anything that can help.
To byla krásná plíce, pak si pro ně zajdu.
That's a lot to take in. Did she say she heard noises from the tree line? Let's check it out. I'll be honest, I'm really worried about her now.
Ale první najdu, pak zajdu pro toho Vapityho, kterého jsem 100% trefil dobře.
Those tracks are headed straight for where she was.
Krev.
I can't believe it. We followed.
Je mrtvá, ale nevidím ji.
I need to tell the police. I should. Okay. First things first. I need to get it together. How you doing? Are you okay? I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this firsthand.
Já jsem v pohodě.
I need to deal with this. But there hasn't been a death in the reserve for almost a decade. I'm gonna call my dad, so he can talk me through the next steps.
Tak já tu počkám. A další achievement, kdo bručí, OK. Sakra, ty achievementy teď padají. Ne.
In her journal, Baden mentions winning the trip out here. And all this drama, I forgot that she wasn't just here with the retreat. She was planning on staying a little longer at one of our outposts. There was something strange about the booking. I'm gonna make some calls now, but I'd like you to go to the outpost she was going to stay at. I have an uneasy feeling about why she was here. I can't quite explain it, but I don't think it was her idea to come here. Hey,
No,
got an
poslouchám.
update for you. I was speaking with the deputy about Baden, and she's gonna send an officer up to secure the scene, take pictures, etc. Do you remember the truck that we spotted leaving the reserve just before we locked it down? Well, the deputy had some news. Turns out that the truck was stolen from a college campus in Denver just a couple of weeks ago.
No, nepovídej.
It gets stranger. The sheriff just got a call from a patrolman in the next county over. The truck has been found on fire, abandoned in the middle of nowhere. It was an anonymous tip-off. I'm not an expert, but I bet that truck was the escape vehicle for our culprits. I'll let you know if the police find anything new.
Máme tu pěkný zvrat. Furt netuším, co se děje. Co mám dělat tady?
I need you to look for any signs that she came here with an agenda that might tie into the problems we're having. Be respectful, though.
Jasně.
Didn't we already find Baden's phone in the woods? Ghost town and dig site? No. I don't believe it. Her luggage. I guess it's just clothes and things. No need to open it up.
Co, tak teď to otevři a dělej. Proč ta skříň svítí? Aha.
That's the gear from the dig site, isn't it? Look, there's the rock saw. Did they take the blade off for safety, maybe? There's a rifle in there, too? No hunter's leaving something like that lying around. I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling to keep myself under control.
Jo, pohoda.
Not only has someone been terrorizing the reserve, but they plan to pin it on someone else. You know, my dad said that there's a spiritual reason for what's going on.
No jasně, že jo.
What I believe is that people have tried to hurt us, and the innocents are getting caught in the middle. And the worst thing is that I have no idea who's behind it.
Proč ti tak dlouho trvá se vymáčknout?
Composure. That's what we need now, right? We got a response from APAR. They are denying all connections to what's happening here. They say that, while they have sadly been forced to euthanize animals in the past, none of their operations would ever condone the sorts of animal mistreatment that were reported.
Byli to oni.
This never seemed like their MO to begin with. They kill shelter animals because they feel it's more humane than the alternative. They don't come out here to do it.
Aha.
Oh, and to make things even worse, I keep getting voicemails from Bobby Joe Jefferson asking me to call him back.
On to udělal.
We were able to trace the payment for Baden's accommodation. You ready for this? It came from a Green Enterprises. The company was dissolved 3 days ago. Seems like the person behind Baden's choice to come here was also the one who gave the go-ahead to rip up our railway. That's it. I've had enough from Bobby Joe. I'm gonna call him back and tell him that it's not the time. Give me a minute.
Čekám. Stále čekám. Minuta už uběhla.
I have a job for you. I'm sending you details of a spot I want you to visit, but I need to deal with something just now. I'll call you back once I'm done.
Tak jo, to je děsivé, ale víš to, že jo? Na cestu. Uprostřed ničeho.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Bobby Joe may have solved the case.
Byl
Do
to
you
on.
recall the uranium mine that he was camped beside? It turns out that he was camping there because he was convinced that it was hosting some government conspiracy. Well, it turns out that someone had been up to visit the site on more than one occasion. The last time they visited, they came with a truck. Bobby was suspicious, so he tailed the truck as it moved around the reserve. Just before they left the reserve, Bobby lost sight of it as it disappeared into the woods. Before Bobby could figure out where it had gone, the truck returned to the road and drove out of the reserve. Bobby kept tailing them. Once they were out of the county, the driver jumped out, grabbed a jerry can from the back, and doused the truck in gasoline before setting it on fire. Bobby swears to me that the guy who got out of the truck is William Simpkins Jr. Shortly afterwards, he was picked up by someone in a car that matches the description of Junior's best friend.
Jasně.
You remember the old chairman I told you about? That's William Simpkins Sr. This is his son. I went to school with him after he got himself kicked out of his fancy prep school. There's the break in the trees. There should be some tracks for you to follow. Junior was pretty horrible to everyone at school, but he was especially nasty to Bobby. I won't go into details, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby holds a grudge. The spot I'm sending you to is the place where Bobby says the truck took a detour before leaving the reserve. The driver desperately needed to get out of here. So why take a detour? Unless it was absolutely essential.
No, takže jdem po stopách dole. Aha! Tohle to mají být stopy nákladáku, jo? To je pěkně úzký nákladák. Jak jsou aj ty kytky zabarvené tím. Aha, stopy. Sleduju. Takže ten příběh je tu asi celý propojený. Jak ten šílenec, který spal u uranového dolu, tak ta ženská, kterou roztrhal medvěd, já jsem věděl, že je mrtvá. A všechno, co se tu děje, tak je nějakým způsobem propojené. Co? To je krev.
That's really not a good sign. Whose blood is on his hands? Look, there's blood on the ground. Keep following that trail. This seems to be the end of the trail. There's a little patch of disturbed soil. Did they bury something? It's a rusty old saw blade. Oh, it's the saw blade that had been attached to the dig team's rock saw. But why detach it from the saw and bury it unless it was important? Take another look at the blade. It's not just rusty, is it? It's got blood on it. I'd bet it's the vandal's blood, too. Okay, don't touch the blade. Leave it there. The deputy's on their way. They'll probably want to talk to you. I think we've just found the missing piece of the puzzle. Great work.
Co? Já to nechápu.
Junior and his friend were just pulled over by the state police. Guess who has a nasty gash across their hand?
To nedává smysl.
Good morning, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed the last few days of uninterrupted peace and tranquility. I've just said goodbye to the last of the deputies team. They've gathered up all the evidence they think they'll need. While you've been busy hunting and exploring, I've been in interviews or giving statements to the police, the board, and even the local press.
Ale ty jsem nic nedělal.
I haven't stopped or slowed down for what feels like at least a week now. I doubt today will be very different. I wanted to catch up with you this morning as I wanted to express my gratitude for the work you've done and ask you for one last big favor. I know I mentioned my dad's concern that there was a more spiritual reason for why things have been tough at the reserve. I can't say that I necessarily agree with him, but I'd like to do something to make him feel better. This job involves a journey to the top of Mount Silver Ridge. I don't trust anyone else to do this. Can you make it to the start of the trail?
Ne. Jestli tam není diamantové zvíře, tak nechci.
So, since my dad got sick and I took over the warden position, we've sort of stopped doing a lot of the things that we used to do together. Sadly, this has resulted in us both missing the bear dance back in spring. I know it means a lot to my dad, and I feel bad that we weren't able to make it. It can get pretty tense when we discuss our culture back home. Dad and I see the world through different lenses. I am proud of my heritage and where I come from, but I don't want it to define me as a person. Dad sees that as me turning my back on my community. Since we both missed the bear dance, I plan to make it up to Dad by attending the Sundance in a week's time. You're probably wondering what this has to do with you walking up a mountain, right? Just before I was born, my grandfather climbed Mount Silver Ridge and stashed a pair of quartz rattles at the top. When I was a teenager, my dad showed me them and told me that they were only to be brought down the mountain in times of dire need. I think that if I bring those rattles with me to the Sundance, Dad will appreciate that I've accepted their significance and paid respect to our beliefs. So, after helping pull the reserve back together, I'm hoping you'll help me comfort my dad. I hope I'm not asking too much.
Jo, žádáš. Tam si máš jít ty proto. Řekne ještě něco, nebo můžu jít? Jo, já tu mám chajdaloupku, tak to jsem šťastný. Trojka, trojka, dvojka. Aha! Zmetku, jsem se lek. A to je jenom začátek té trasy, já budu muset jít dál.
Okay, so this is it. The Silver Ridge Trail. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I can promise you that the views from the top are worth the climb. Plus, you never know what you might be able to hunt on the way, right? While you're on your way up, why don't I fill you in on the recent news?
No tak povídej.
So, first things first, Junior. I have some mixed news there. Was it Junior that terrorized the reserve? Almost certainly yes. He has, however, been released from prison after one of Daddy's lawyers stepped in to save him. He's so cocky that he actually gave an interview to a reporter, but kept using phrases like we and us, as well as the Simpkins family, which raised a few red flags. I am confident that the evidence we've gathered and Bobby Joe's testimony will help to bring the truth out, though. Anyway, in light of everything that went on here, the police are looking at the whole Simpkins family, not just Junior. I suspect that Simpkins Sr. saw an opportunity to get his payback on the APAR for brainwashing Timothy, the reserve for pushing him off the board, and on my family after my dad reported his eldest son to the police. Oh, and speaking of the board, they've really been great in the last couple of days. They've been really supportive and appreciative of how this mess has been dealt with. I'm getting a lot of the credit, but I keep telling them you were doing most of the work out there in the reserve. If there was ever any doubt from the board that I was right in hiring you, it's gone now. In fact, the work that you and Remy have done is already having a strong effect on our bookings. Next week's schedule is already filling up fast.
To bylo všechno? Nic víc mi neřekne? To bylo fajn ho poslouchat, když jako lezu nahoru. Ale tak, jsem tu sám se svýma myšlenkama a to se mi nelíbí, jak se tam mám dostat. Já jsem možná... Ale jenom možná mohl jít odsud. No, to bude lepší, 700 metrů. Ten kámen odsud vypadá jako medvěd, ale takhle tak je to kámen, ale takhle tak medvěd. Kámen, medvěd, kámen, medvěd, kámen. Nechápu. Budu si muset koupit další náboje. Ale když já nevím, jestli na ně mám dost peněz. Teď mám jenom skoro 900 000. A stále je tu otázka, jak se tam mám krucinál dostat. Tak tohle toto v životě nevylezu. Ale zkusím to. Už jsem si stihl trošičku ublížit, protože ta hora mě na sebe nechce pustit. Ale už jsem skoro tu. To je, panečku, výhled. To by mělo být zakázané v těchto hrách lozit na takové kopce.
It's amazing up there, isn't it? I've only made the climb a handful of times, but it's such a great view. The rattles should be easy to find. They're in a protective case.
Jo, chviličku, já se jenom pokochám. Hotovo. Mám to.
Mission accomplished. Thank you. This means a lot to me. Enjoy the view from the top. You earned it. Our outlook is so much brighter, just because you're here with us. When I get back from the Sundance, why don't we spend some time hunting together? The media attention has actually had some unforeseen side effects. Some government inspectors are coming out to visit the polluted lake. I guess there is such a thing as bad press, huh? I'm gonna go get ready for that meeting. Hopefully we can get things moving again. Take care. We'll catch up soon.
Aha. Dokončí úkol výstup. Další achievement. Ale vypadá to, že mise jsou dokončené. Já tady zkusím chviličku jako pobíhat, jestli se ještě něco neaktivuje. Ale ony tu nejsou vedlejší mise. To nechápu. A on řekl, že se brzy ozve. Co tím mohl myslet? Tak to vypadá, že mám mise na Silver Ridge nebo Ridge Peaks hotové. Protože podle achievementu mám hotové všechno. Co se tady dá jakože dělat. Takže jo. Jsem šťastný, že tu nejsou vedlejší mise. To je o mapu méně, kde bych musel plnit. Ale nebylo tu žádné diamantové zvíře. Což je docela škoda. Ale to nebudu řešit. V příštím díle se půjdeme podívat na mapu Thea Varroa. A pro dnešní díl to tady ukončím. Myslím si, že jsem to stihl tak pěkně, nebo je to nějak šíleně dlouhý díl, takže je to super. A já se s vámi pro dnešní díl loučím. Mějte se fajn, dejte like, dejte odběr a to je vlastně všechno. Vidíme se u dalšího videa.